Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to Pop's Movie Dungeon. Today we're going to be going over Vinegar Syndrome's July 2021 new releases. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for checking out the channel. Please consider subscribing. Hit that like button. We're just getting started and we really would appreciate your support. We have a lot of big plans for the channel, so stay tuned and let's get going. So the movie Killer's Delight is a 1978 movie directed by Jeremy Honak, starring James Lucci, Susan Sullivan, and John Carlin. The basic premise of Killer's Delight is it's said to be based on the real life crimes of Ted Bundy, and that would seem to be an accurate assessment of the film, as the killer in this film and the real life killer share many similarities. Although the release of Killer's Delight and the apprehension of Ted Bundy happened around the same time, the majority of this film focuses on the investigation into the murders rather than the murders themselves. And as such, the film is not particularly graphic. But we do get to see how the killer targets his victims. The film takes place in a small town and several young girls have turned up dead. A detective named Detective DiCarlo believes that all the murders were committed by the same killer, and so begins the investigation. This movie appealed to me because I live very, very close to where some of Ted Bundy's murders happened here in Florida. And any movie that comes out about Ted Bundy, even though I realize this movie is not about Ted Bundy, it's just kind of based on some of his story, it's very intriguing to me. He was a crazy-ass individual, and it's something that kind of hit close to home when all that was going on. I was very young, but I do remember the story growing up. So anyway, this movie here was, out of the three this month, this is the one that I was the most interested in checking out. I know nothing about the movie other than what I'm kind of learning as I'm reviewing this. So that's what we got for Killer's Delight. Okay, let's take a closer look at Killer's Delight. I have to say that out of the three slipcovers this month, this is my favorite one. And this is probably the movie that I'm the most interested in seeing, just because, you know, I live in Florida and the Ted Bundy thing was kind of a close to home deal, so we all followed it, you know, in this area. So the fact that this does have at least they follow the storyline of Ted Bundy, it's always intriguing. Some crazy stuff, but there's what you get. And I'll take that off, and that's the inside artwork. And by far, I definitely like the slipcover artwork better. But I'm assuming that is the original cover. Again, always, please feel free to comment and correct me if I'm wrong about any of that. I'll take out, there's the disc art. And I'll take this out. That's the reversible cover on the inside, which I think I kind of like that better. I think a little more of the retro look. I'd be interested to go back and do some research and see which is the original artwork. But yeah, it looks like it's called the Sport Killer. Okay, so I guess this one had an alternate name also. So that is, we're learning that as we go here. So that's what you get. So next up we have The Lamp, also known as The Outing. This is a 1987 American supernatural slasher film directed by Tom Daly and starring Deborah Winters, James Houston, Andrea St. Avani, I'm sure I messed that up, Scott Baxton, and Red Mitchell. An ancient genie is released from a lamp when thieves ransack an old woman's house. They are killed and the lamp is moved to a museum to be studied. The curator's daughter is soon possessed by the genie and invites her friends to spend the night at the museum. Along with some uninvited guests, the genie kills them off in an attempt to fulfill her ultimate wish. The film was originally released in the United Kingdom as The Lamp on April 28, 1987, though it was released as The Outing in the United States on September 11th of the same year, with about 2 minutes of cuts along with a different opening score. The film was shot on location in Houston and Galveston, Texas, as well as Los Angeles. Okay, here's a closer look at the lamp. I'm kind of digging that artwork, nice colors. There's what's going to look like on the side of the shelf there. There's the back. Make a wish if you dare. That's a unique image there. So take off the slip, and there's the other name of the movie, The Outing. There's the back. Hopefully that's focusing good for you guys. And we have the inside. You see the disc artwork there. I gotta get better at getting these things straight before I start this. Take that out and show you the alternate artwork, which is again the same as the cover. So I like to alternate the reversible artwork to go opposite of whatever's on the cover. So I'm gonna leave it on that there, even though I do prefer the other artwork better. So that's what you get for the lamp, also known as The Outing. So the third and final film for Vinegar Syndrome's July releases is Through the Fire, The Gates of Hell 2, Dead Awakening. Doing my research on this film, a lot of strange information popped up. So I'll tell you what, we'll talk about the synopsis of the film, and then we'll go through all that. Through the Fire, also known as The Gates of Hell Part 2, Dead Awakening, is a 1988 horror film directed by Gary Markham and starring Tamara Hex, Ton Campitelli, and Randy Strickland. A few mysterious disappearances happen in Fort Worth, Texas. The sister of one of the victims hires a cop to investigate her disappearance. The young woman, played by Tamara Hex, and the cop, played by Tom Campitelli, discover that an evil cult is involved. They find a medallion sought after by some worshippers of the demon Moloch. Yeah, probably not called Moloch. I probably made him a lot more southern than he really is. Anyway, he's a beast that may be invoked and wreaks havoc, but can only be stopped by the amulet. This movie was filmed in 1988, but was not released until 1997. It was shot in Fort Worth, Texas. The film had overseas theatrical releases, but none in the U.S., though it had a single invitational showing at a theater in Fort Worth in November 1988, mainly for cast, crew, and friends. So this movie being called The Gates of Hell Part 2, Dead Awakening, you would think that would make it a sequel. Well, that's not the case at all. Back in 1980, a film directed by Lucio Fulci, we all heard of him, was promoted as Twilight of the Dead, which resulted in a cease and desist order from the United Film Distribution Company due to the title's similarity to their own film, George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead. This resulted in the distributor Motion Picture Marketing withdrawing the film and re-releasing it with a new title, The Gates of Hell. Now, I have not seen either film yet, but from what I have heard, this is not a sequel, but they do have a dedication to the late director of the first film, Lucio Fulci. And like I said, I haven't seen this film, but from what I've heard, zombies really don't even pop up until the last 5 minutes of the film. Something else I thought was rather interesting was that if you look at this art, and I'll probably pop a poster up right up here, it is very similar to another movie that was released called Funeral Home. I'll pop that up here as well. Now, the only difference that I can see, one, is they add some color to the poster, and instead of saying Funeral Home on the tombstone, they just put R.I.P. Don't really have any information of how that came about, how they were able to kind of snag this artwork. No idea. If anybody has any more information on that, please feel free to comment below, fill me in. I find it to be very, very weird, to say the least. I don't think this movie's any good. From what I've heard, this movie actually sucks. Get through it, but I have heard zero good things about this movie. If any of you guys are fans of this movie, I do apologize. I'm just going on basically what I've read online. I am going to give it a shot. If I see that my opinion changes, I'll be sure to update you guys and let y'all know. Okay, well, let's take a closer look at the slip for Through the Fire. There you see the front, the back of the slip. Not a terrible slip, not my favorite artwork, but it's okay. And this is the alternate title of the movie. There's the back. You got the inside artwork there. Take that out so you guys can see the inside there. You do got the reversible artwork. I don't think there's no need for me to take that out. You guys can see that. It's the same as the cover. So that's what we got for Through the Fire, aka The Gates of Hell Part 2, Dead Awakening. So, I appreciate you guys sticking with me through this review. That's what we have for the month of July. I will be back next month with the August releases for Vinegar Syndrome. And until then, once again, if you could please consider subscribing to the channel, hit that like button, and keep checking back for more, because we're going to have some more content coming out. We're going to be talking about various movies from Vinegar Syndrome, Scream Factory, Kino Lorbre, Arrow Video, you name it. We're into all the boutique labels here, along with some of the main releases. I look over there because that's where I have my 4K movies up for the big studio titles. So we have a little bit of it all here. So again, thank you for stopping by, and you guys take care, and I will see you next time.